Dr. Nathan Groot. I am a music instructor at the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts, where I teach string ensemble, applied string lessons, and other music courses. Today we're going to be taking a look at La Cucaracha, which is part of the junior high string audition for the Cadet Orchestra. This is for the years 2023 through 2026. Just a reminder, for these auditions for the Cadet Orchestra, all printed fingerings and bowings are required, and there is no sight reading. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this piece. First things we're always going to look at in a piece of music are the key signature and the time signature, and then we'll look at some other very basic aspects of it. So first, what is our key signature? If you look at the key signature here, we have one sharp. Which sharp is it? Which note is sharp? That is going to be an F sharp. That means we are in the key of G major. So if you were to play a G major scale, you could play it in two different ways. A one octave G major, you could start on your G string, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. That's one octave. We went from G to G. If you wanted to do the second octave, you could. G, third finger, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. It's a good idea to practice our scales to root ourselves in the correct key. So before practicing this, go ahead and play your G major scale. It's a good way to just sort of remind yourself of the finger patterns that you're working with. If you want to just think about the finger patterns, we have a 2-3 finger pattern on the G string. We have a 2-3 finger pattern on the D string. We have a 1-2 finger pattern on the A string, and we have a 1-2 finger pattern on the E string. All right, what else can we notice? Time signature. So our time signature is 3-4. How many? 3. What? Quarter notes. So there are 3 quarter notes in each measure. We have some different kinds of rhythms here. We have quarter notes, but we also have eighth notes. We also have half notes. So the beginning is just going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. So just making sure you're really clear on how that rhythm is working, and make sure that you're practicing with a metronome as well. We'll get to that a little bit later in the video, okay? Next thing to notice, we have some articulations. We have those little dots over the note. So that's going to be a staccato. And a staccato just means that you're going to have space after the note. Just think short, right? So an example comes in measure 2. We have these eighth notes. If that D didn't have a staccato over it, it would sound like this. But it does have a staccato, so we're going to stop the bow and make it nice and short. There's no reason to take the bow off the string or anything like that. We're just going to stop it where it is and then continue after there's a little bit of a space. Okay, so let's talk about some other markings we have here. We have some dynamic markings. At the very beginning, we have MF. That stands for mezzo forte, sort of a medium loud. The other dynamic we have is at the end of this first line, we have a forte, an F. And that means we're going to go from medium loud up to loud at that forte. So medium loud all the way through the first line. And then it's on the and of 2 that we have this forte. It's important to place the forte in the right location. So we're medium loud from the beginning. And then on the open D, we're going to make it louder. Now this leads into a little bit of a discussion of how do we make things louder? How do we play dynamics, right? So we think about our bow here. We have weight, speed, contact point. primarily. We can also think about the tilt of the bow maybe, but primarily we're thinking about weight, speed, and contact point. So weight is how much weight we allow our arm to transfer into that string. If you can make that sort of terrible sound, that means you can transfer enough weight in. So you can transfer enough weight to really dig into that string, or lift the weight out to make it soft. The other thing, speed, how fast is the bow moving? If it's moving faster, you're going to be spinning more sound. If it's moving slower, less sound. Contact point refers to where we are in relation to the bridge and the fingerboard. So closer to the bridge is going to be a little louder, closer to the fingerboard is going to be a little softer, okay? So when we get here, at the last measure of this line, we've been playing medium loud. We need to now on this down bow, D, open D, I'm going to add more weight. So just feeling more weight being transferred from my arm into the bow and into the string, right? And I'm going to be using a little bit more bow. So more weight and more speed. This is a case where I think changing your contact point might be a little bit too complicated. But if you want to think about that, that can also be helpful. Just make sure you're not over the fingerboard, because if you're over the fingerboard, you won't be able to get the same quality of sound, but also you won't be able to play really forte and get a good sound over the fingerboard. So there's something really interesting that happens in the third measure of the second line. This is going to be super, super important, okay? So the first measure of the second line starts on an up bow. Then we have an eighth note rest, okay? There's a breath mark or a lift marking there. It looks like kind of an apostrophe. And there's another marking under the D. It says LH. This stands for lower half. So if we look at our bow, we have the tip, we have the frog, we have the middle. This is the upper half, and then this is the lower half, okay? So just looking at it there from the third measure of the second line, once we finish that down bow here, we're in the upper half, right? So how do we get from here to the lower half in the space of an eighth note? We need to do a little tiny lift. We need to go, just move the bow. Lift and set. And then it goes up again, okay? So that's maybe something to practice. So that's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. That's something that you could maybe do on your scales. Make sure that you're setting the bow after that lift. So that means you're not doing this. Sort of coming from the air. You want to hear chunk. So down, chunk. So practice that, and this will help you in the context of this piece. So you're able to lift, set, and then go up bow from the down bow, and it'll sound amazing. There are a few more staccatos. Otherwise, it's all pretty straightforward. Just make sure that you do the slur in the second to last measure. That's important. It'll just the judges will be able to hear it, and you want to make sure you're following all the bowings. All right, so we're actually going to take this through at different tempos, so you can follow along with this video or use this as a model for your metronome work. Be sure you are practicing with your metronome. Just a reminder that even though this is a very short piece, you should be practicing by isolating problem spots and working on those before you try to integrate them into the larger whole. And speeding them up. So there are a lot of different ways to practice outside of just going beginning and beginning and beginning and that kind of thing and speeding it up. But this is one of many ways, and hopefully it'll be a good way for you to find those problem spots as we increase our tempo. So our goal tempo is quarter note equals 126. We're going to start at a little under half tempo at quarter note equals 60. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 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 Here is our goal tempo of 126. 1, 2, 3. this has been somewhat helpful to you. Best of luck. This may be, since it's the Cadet Orchestra, it may be your first ever audition. And if it is, that's fantastic. You're going to do amazingly. It's going to sound beautiful. Just put in a little bit of practice, and then you won't feel so nervous when you get there. But you'll feel a little bit nervous. That's okay. Just remember that the judges want you to do well and are there to support you, okay? So just do your best, and you're going to do great. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, best of luck at your audition, and happy practicing.